All right, it's the Cobra Air Commandos again. Let's go get them!
Welcome back for another Generals Review. I'm Chris McLeod, aka Diagnostic 80 from the Full Force podcast, and I'm joined by the awesome Justin Bell from GeneralsJoes and What's on Joe Mind to bring you this review of the G.I. Joe Collectors Club JoeCon 2016 exclusive box set. And following on from part 1, we take a look at the COBRA Adders, or Aggressive Dirty Douchebag Ergonomic Reality Stealers. That's not what it stands for. It's actually the Aerial Deployment Daredevil Elite Recon Squadron. Yeah, that makes more sense. Let's start with the army builders. The Cobra Air Devils were originally released by Hasbro in 1992 as part of the Air Commandos sub-team. They were packaged exclusively with the Cobra glider and came on a larger card back in order to fit the glider on. The build was entirely original and came with a faceplate and a rifle for accessories. The red and black colour scheme looked badass, and it was the only version of the figure released until now. Due to the date of release, we didn't get the Air Devils appearing in the cartoon, but we did see a lot of the Cobra Night Vultures. Had the Air Devils been released in 90 or 91, I would have no doubts that we would have seen them in the Deke series. It seemed every character released in that era made its way into that show somehow.
This is Justin from GeneralsJoes.com with another look at the G.I. Joe 2016 convention exclusive set. I already took a look at the Sky Patrol side of things. Today we are going to be looking at the COBRA Adders. The COBRA Adders was kind of a new sub-team that the G.I. Joe Collectors Club made up to go up against Sky Patrol, but they took some very familiar properties, including the COBRA Air Commandos. And all I can say about the Air Commandos is, good God, I love the 90s. The 90s were fantastic. I mean, Hasbro expect you to buy these figures, stick a little backpack peg into a thin piece of vinyl and chuck them in the air, and they do loops and flip around, and meanwhile they had these plastic guns and frames that weighed the thing down, and they didn't work worth shit. I mean, you threw them and they went like an inch and then plummeted directly into the ground. But you know, it didn't care because the figures were so great. I would say, you know, the Night Vulture, the Air Devil were two of my all-time favorite figures in the 1990s. I've got, you know, squads of them in my collection, in my vintage collection now, and I've loved them for years and years. So obviously when I heard that they were going to be a part of this 2016 convention set, I was ecstatic. But of course I was a little nervous because you want stuff that you care about this much to be treated with respect and get the modern update it deserves. And I'll tell you, they nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. These COBRA Adders, soup to nuts, entirely fantastic figures. I have very few complaints about any of them. And we'll start with Air Devil. I know I'm going to separate this a little bit, the COBRA side of the review. I'm going to do the Air Commandos first, or what I consider the Air Commandos, what we U.S. collectors consider the Air Commandos, which is Air Devils, Night Vultures, and Sky Creeper. And then I'll cover Black Vulture and Flying Scorpion a little bit, you know, at the end of the video. Just because they're a little bit separate, even though the Collectors Club storyline is kind of tying it all together very nicely, I might add. But anyway, here is Air Devil. Air Devil is made mostly of a Pursuit of Cobra Jungle Viper, at least the torso and legs are. His arms are the 25th anniversary Alley Viper, which is nice because they add some, ends up being very nicely articulated, and he's got that great kind of forearm mounted knife, which is really awesome. I love one thing that Hasbro has excelled at in recent years is being able to develop these sheaths and holsters. So they are, speaking of holsters, he's got one on his ankle too. I like this because he can fly the glider and still have some weapons, you know, closely mounted to his body, yet keeping his hands free. But Hasbro's excelled at being able to make these little sheaths and holsters narrow enough to not get in the way of the figure, but, you know, functional enough to fit these weapons nicely. And the build is really, really great. If I remove his little clear plastic face shield, the original Air Devil actually came with this shield kind of pegged to his head. So they approximate that by giving us this little attachment to it. But anyway, the head you'll see there, I believe, is from originally the alternate head from G.I. Joe Retaliation Duke. It was also used from the 50th anniversary Sightline figure, some figure near and dear to all of our hearts. But Air Devil as a whole just looks really great. There's something a little poetic about the Sightline head being on a Jungle Viper body, and knowing that how much Gary had loved the Jungle Viper figure. That's kind of a neat touch. But anyway, I think what they obviously the head, this head does not perfectly resemble the other Daredevil head. The Daredevil head from the vintage days had an exposed lower face, but it did have those red goggles, and I kind of like this a little bit better because it masks the figure a little bit more. The color palette is very nice. You can never go wrong with red, black, and silver. That's a pretty popular Cobra color scheme, and it works really well for Daredevil. He comes with a really awesome glider pack, the one that came with the G.I. Joe Resolute Snake Eyes back in the day. You've got these little fold-down arms that clip. He's got little ankle clips so that the glider can actually clip into the ankles there. A little push button, so whoop, spring-loaded. And he's got, of course, the Cobra Daredevil logo, which has that little devil tail kind of coming off the bottom, which is a nice element of the whole glider pack. And he's got these little handles that flip out, and the Daredevil can easily reach out and kind of hold these handles. I don't know if you want to see me fumble with that throughout this video, but trust me, he can do it. If you check out the image reviews I'm putting up on GeneralsJoes.com, you'll be able to see how nicely he holds those handles. He really can. And he's got this funky little, it's the G.I. Joe, the weapon that came with G.I. Joe Retaliation Snake Eyes from Wave 1. Kind of an odd, unrealistic weapon, but still it looks pretty neat. I don't mind. And they obviously used these glider packs because, the original figures came with those kind of vinyl plastic gliders, or whatever material it is. But these gliders can also come off pretty easily. They just have a little backpack peg there. And then you have a nice Cobra operative who can hit the ground running and cause some damage. And I like how they've kind of broken the blacks and the reds here and here. The silver on the pouches on the chest. Very nice touch, nice bright color. Separate things a little bit. I'll throw the vintage one right here next to it and kind of see a comparison. The new figure is a little bit of a deeper red. The old Daredevil is a little bit brighter, but it looks nice. I mean, you can kind of see the same black separation here and here. This one goes all the way down where they broke the boots up a little bit differently there. The quilted material is kind of why it looks like why they might have chosen the Jungle Viper torso and legs, because of that quilted stuff. The silver kind of matches the silver of the grenades, and you can see here's the little pegged in clear face shield, which is why the new Daredevil comes with the same thing. And the convention set, of course, came with 3 of these bad boys, which is awesome. You can never have too many Daredevils, I say. I might be the only one that says it, but I do say it. Because Daredevil, like I said, is one of my favorite Cobra Army builders. I've been a 90s junkie for so long that the fact that, I'm almost relishing the fact that Hasbro and the Collectors Club have run out of 80s figures to do, because now they are kind of forced to do 90s figures. We saw it with the Eco Warriors a couple of years ago, and now we're seeing it again with Air Commandos. I think this set and the Eco Warrior set really play off each other very, very nicely. Each set uses a nice, healthy helping of yellow and some bright orange colors on the Night Vulture. It's just, they're very colorful. And there seems to be this preconceived notion in the G.I. Joe community that somehow colorful equals bad. And I don't know why that is, but colorful does not equal bad. Colors are good. We like colors. Colors are pretty. And they look nice on the shelf and on display. So red, black, silver, these colors are really fantastically put together. And I really like the Daredevil a lot. One of my favorite 90s figures is now one of my favorite 2016 figures, so very, very good job with that one.
There was a heavy use of the Air Commandos in the cartoon, and the Night Vultures were used on a number of occasions with a completely different colour scheme. Although it resembled Snake Eyes, the body and head are completely original parts, and they came packed with a slightly different design and completely different deco to the Daredevil's Cobra glider on a large card with bubble. The deco on the figure was typical 90s Joe fodder. Neon orange, purple and black made people like Justin Bell lose their brightly coloured minds. As well as the glider, they were also given a cool purple crossbow as an accessory. I want to make a squadron of these guys called Purple Rain now. Much like the Daredevil, this was the only version of the character in toy form until the club made their version for this box set.
The Cobra Night Vulture. And of course, back in the 90s when he was originally released, he had that skin-tight face mask with the purple goggles. Kind of looked almost like Snake Eyes. His mask was so tight it almost looked like he had bony teeth, and it was fun to pretend that he actually had a skull underneath there instead of his actual face. And he had what looked like nunchucks kind of hooked to his shoulder pads, so of course he had to be a ninja. And also kind of on his left leg there was what looked like nunchucks there too. So even though he was orange all over the place, the Night Vulture was clearly a ninja, and this Night Vulture is clearly a ninja too, because he's got a crossbow like the old version had, plus the great crisscrossing trench knives on his chest. So anyway, because there were some like real Snake Eyes elements on the original Night Vulture, they went all out and basically made him a repainted Snake Eyes. He's the pretty much, I think from the neck down, is the 25th anniversary modern version of the 89 Snake Eyes, which is completely cool with me. That is one of the later generation 25th anniversary figures and one of my favorite 25th anniversary figures. One of those few figures from back in the day that really manages to get some really decent articulation and sculpting, design aesthetics. I really love this whole crisscross trench knives on the chest. His head is actually from Pursuit of Cobra Steel Brigade Delta, I believe, the Vamp driver, which has some similarities to Snake Eyes, but looks different enough so it really works for the Night Vulture nicely. The crossbow I think comes from the G.I. Joe Retaliation Zartan, maybe not, I don't know. It fits him well. It's actually the only offensive weapon he really comes with, kind of. I mean, we'll talk about the knives in just a second, but he doesn't come with any guns. He just comes with a crossbow, which is okay. He's got grenades on his arms, of course, but I like the way they did the orange. The orange vest is actually from, I believe, one of the Rise of Cobra Mars troopers or Mars officers, and it suits him nicely. It's a great shade of orange. Same with the holster there. And he's got this little pouch on his left leg. He has got the glider pack like the Daredevil does, clipped on his ankles like with the Daredevil. He comes with the more familiar kind of bat-winged Cobra Air Force logo that we originally saw, I think, on the Firebat. But Night Vulture didn't really have his own unique logo like the Daredevil did, so he gets that more familiar Cobra Air Force logo that way. And we will take his backpack off. The purple color is great. Again, everybody seems to not like the bright colors, and yes, the orange is ridiculous, and yes, sneaking around in the jungle at night, he's going to be the first guy to catch a bullet because anybody can see him, but use your flippin' imagination. It's okay. And the trench knives actually peg off of the hole in his chest and separate into two separate little knives, which is really awesome. That was a very cool design aesthetic from the original 25th anniversary figure. And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about where you take the familiar design, but you add some elements to it to make it newer, better. So now your Night Vulture can actually take the knives off his chest. And the original Night Vulture didn't even have knives on his chest. But because they used the 89 Snake Eyes tooling, it made sense to include those little trench knives. So now your new Night Vulture can be even more badass than your old Night Vulture was. No nunchucks, though. I'm a little disappointed in that. I think the Night Vulture should have come with nunchucks. There we go. The 3 Night Vultures. Along with Daredevil, one of my favorite 90s figures.
Now we move into the team leader and individual character segment, starting with Skycreeper. Another 1991 Air Commandos release, Skycreeper started his criminal career by robbing patrons of fancy rooftop restaurants. He was recruited into Cobra by one of the Dreadnoks whilst in prison, and he formed the Night Vultures, a unit he now commands. Another original build with a sharp green, yellow and black colour scheme and a very cool fixed helmet design that the new version is updated with neat black GoPro style cameras on either side. He also came with a very long blue pistol to go with his glider. Skycreeper saw a ton of use in the Deke cartoon, and in one case they used his design as a standard trooper with 2 appearing side by side in an episode. A strange move considering he was used as a single character all the other times.
Skycreeper. This figure is fantastic. I love it. He's got a new head sculpt, an amazing new head sculpt. Obviously familiar, reminiscent of the old one with that cool sloped helmet. It looks like he's got some kind of helmet mounted cameras for either surveillance purposes or what have you, but it is awesome. And for whatever reason, the orange color chosen for the various trim of the figure is so photogenic. There's, when you're taking pictures for these reviews, you run across figures that just photograph really, really nicely. They're crisper and they're cleaner than some other pictures, and Sky Creeper is one of those. I can't tell you why. I'm not a photography professional. I just pretend to be one. So I can't tell you why the color balance works so much better for certain figures than it does for others. But for Sky Creeper, it was really fun to take pictures of him. They did a great job. And like I said, he's got a new head sculpt. He's got, I think it's the Retaliation Snake Eyes torso, wave 1 underneath there. And the Ultimate Cobra Commander arms, of course, which means they're very nicely articulated in spite of being somewhat baggy. He can still hold the weapons even though that left hand is like, "Arr!" He's got the Retaliation Snake Eyes web gear, which I'm a huge fan of and looks really nice on him. I don't love the legs. No fault of the designer. I mean, the legs resemble the vintage Sky Creeper, pretty nicely, so I can see why they used them. I'm not a big fan of these Pursuit of Cobra Snake Eyes legs. The little bottom parts here get in the way of the ankle joints. He's got these funky little gaps in the thigh armor that I don't know what that's all about. So anyway, not the fault of the designer. I know why he chose the legs. I'm not a big fan of those. And like the Night Vulture, Sky Creeper has the Cobra Air Force logo on the back glider there. And he's got kind of blue here. They use color cues from the vintage gliders when they did these glider packs, and did that really nicely. Sky Creeper is a really great figure. He's got this small pair of submachine guns, and his backpack comes off. It's spring-loaded like everybody else's. He can hold the handles really well. He is a very fun figure. 90s perfection right there. He's got a helmet that makes absolutely no sense. He's got yellow web gear, turquoisey blue uniform underneath, big honking leg pads all over the place. Nothing about Sky Creeper makes sense, but he's badass, so it doesn't really matter. I will say this new head sculpt looks a lot better than the vintage one. The vintage one has that kind of I'm crapping my pants face sculpt, which they neglected to include with the modern version, which is probably just as well. Speaking of crapping his pants, there's the vintage version next to the modern counterpart. Obviously the colors are similar, black pants below yellow. My vintage version is in rough shape. Yeah, he's got worn paint all through there. He's not a pretty sight. I gotta do something about that. And that is Sky Creeper. Sky Creeper back in the 90s was the leader of the Air Commandos. So I try to kind of get my head around how this whole hierarchy works now, because along with Sky Creeper, you now have Black Vulture and Flying Scorpion. Black Vulture is the leader of the Night Vultures. Flying Scorpion is now the leader of the Air Devils. So I guess those two guys then report to him. I'll admit I haven't combed through the file cards and all that stuff yet, so perhaps the story is told there. But until I do that, I'll remain a little bit perplexed about how the whole command structure works.
Where the previous figures on this video have been directly influenced by original versions, the following two are homages based on foreign releases. Cobra Black Vulture takes his cues from the Brazilian Comandos em Ejao line, Patrulho do Ar, Portuguese for Sky Patrol, Abutre Negro. The oversized card back features some awesome original art, and the figure itself is made up of a number of different parts. The head and legs are from 89 DJ, the chest and arms from 91 Cesspool, and the waist is from 87 Maverick. The figure came with a red backpack for the silver parachute, a black pistol, and a black rifle.
The Black Vulture. Here he is. I'm warning you right now, this jetpack is probably going to fall off about 100 times while I'm doing this. One minor complaint, that he's got this great accelerator suit torso. The armor plates on the back kind of stick up a little bit too much, and the backpack does not sit exceptionally well, so it's going to flop out a little bit, I think. but that's okay. This figure is fantastic. One of the first things I kind of fell in love with when I rejoined any kind of G.I. Joe community in the mid to late 90s was the fact that there were figures that were produced in South America and other countries that actually gave you unique characters that we did not get in the United States. And a couple of the ones that really appealed to me right off the bat were Abutre Negro and Escorpio Volador, which mean Black Vulture and Flying Scorpion. And they used a different combination of parts. I think Black Vulture used mostly cesspool with a DJ head, and then Flying Scorpion used cesspool's head on top of, I think it was Recoil's body or some kind of mixture of parts. Anyway, it was a really neat idea to take those characters or those parts, mix them up a little bit, and create a separate kind of South American storyline to go along with them. So, of course, the Collectors Club, who likes to do that, finally has covered these two characters that have been fan favorites, not just mine, but fan favorites, and not only brings them to America and brings them into the mythology, but does it in a really clever way. It makes sense that Black Vulture would be the leader of the Night Vultures. Obviously, they didn't go through great lengths to match his colors with theirs, which is good because I think he really looks awesome in the black and silver. He's got, like I mentioned, the accelerator suit torso with this little paint kind of made to mimic a snake face kind of. Retaliation Snake Eyes arms and Pursuit of Cobra Beachhead legs. So he's kind of armored all over. He's got the G.I. Joe Renegades trooper head. So he's kind of, he resembles DJ a little bit in that way with the little Cobra Air Force logo on the helmet there. The figure looks spectacular. I couldn't be happier with the way that they have taken that South American character and translated it for a North American modern format release. Not to mention the fact that they used the jetpack from the Pursuit of Cobra Skydive, which is so awesome. Spring-loaded. The shape with the angled wings is terrific. The little undercarriage bombs. I love this figure so much. They did a really, really great job on executing the South American exclusive and giving longtime fans an opportunity to not just own this character. Obviously, most of us who really liked those South American characters found a way to get them in their collection if they really wanted them, the wonders of the internet. But, for folks who don't have them, and actually, believe it or not, I don't have these figures myself, it's a really nice way to kind of get those characters out here. He's got this great kind of jagged knife and this pretty basic, straightforward machine gun. Very nice articulation. I really like all the detail from the Pursuit of Cobra Beachhead legs. His head makes him look considerably different because not many people have this Cobra Trooper head, besides the fact that he looks like he's pouting. It looks like Mommy wouldn't buy him a piece of candy. But anyway, the figure is just spectacular. I cannot get enough of this torso deco. The armor texture on the Snake Eyes arms, and he is just one hell of a nice figure. Very, very appealing.
In exactly the same vein, we have the Cobra Flying Scorpion, or as the homage suggests, Escorpio Voador. Again, he was carded with original art on a Commandos im Icao Patrullo do Ar card back. I should be getting my languages badge after this is over. He came with a grey backpack for the silver parachute, a removable black and silver helmet, and black pistol and black rifle. The figure boasts a head and waist from 91 Cesspool, chest and arms from 89 Recoil, and the legs from 89 Scoop. Both figures saw release in Brazil in 1990 and 1991 by the Estrella Toy Company.
The Flying Scorpion, and of course they did just as good a job with him. His affiliation with the Daredevils makes a little bit more sense because he actually has some red in him, and the silver web gear kind of blends with the silver pouches there. So that really makes a lot of sense, making him the leader of the Daredevils. It's amazing that it didn't really occur to anybody that way before. But you can see they use G.I. Joe Retaliation, I think Ultimate Duke legs, Ultimate Duke arms. He's got the 30th anniversary Lifeline torso. Underneath the web gear is a little bit sketchy because they didn't include kind of the additional holsters and stuff under there, so he's got some gaps. Thankfully, with the web gear on, it's Cobra Officer web gear, you can't see the gaps, so it doesn't really, as long as you keep the web gear on, it shouldn't bother you. You can check out his great, repainted cesspool head. He's got really good articulation. Again, like the Black Vulture, the jetpack is a fantastic choice. The color match with the Air Devils is really, really nice. He's got a great gun in the holster there. He's got the Air Devil logo with a little devil tail on the wings. So enough little stuff to kind of differentiate him. But he's great. A great figure. Comes with an pretty straightforward AK-47. His backpack stays in a little bit better than Black Vulture's does. So that really covers, that's the Cobra Adder side of things, and which is essentially what came with the box set. The box set came with 3 Air Devils, 3 Night Vultures, Sky Creeper, Black Vulture, and Flying Scorpion. I can't think of a better Cobra team to be featured in the convention set. I love the Air Commandos, and they did a fantastic job updating all the Air Commandos. I love those South American exclusive characters. They did a perfect job modernizing those South American exclusives. They absolutely nailed this box set. The Sky Patrol figures, really, really great modern updates with some, for folks who weren't, 100% attached to Sky Patrol as it was. They added enough newness to them. I think the jetpacks are a really cool touch. I mean, the original Sky Patrol guys had parachute backpacks. That was kind of their big gimmick. And obviously, that didn't happen this time around. We didn't get parachute backpacks for everybody, which, honestly, I much prefer the whole jetpack idea than the parachute backpacks. So I'm okay with that. The Collectors Club managed to cover so many different bases, updating the Air Commandos, doing a great job updating the Air Commandos, those South American exclusive characters, and yet tying the whole mythology together from all of them. Really, really exceptional job on the Cobra side of things here. Exceptional job on the G.I. Joe side of things here. The 2016 G.I. Joe Convention box set is one of the better ones that I've seen in a long time. I love the Eco Warriors one as well. This one is right up there, very close to that one for just the way the figures were put together and designed, the cohesiveness of all the characters within, the interwoven story. Really, really stellar job on this one, G.I. Joe Collectors Club. You did fantastic. I'm really looking forward to the fact that we've got 2 more years of sets of hopefully this caliber to look forward to. So whoever you had working on this one, I hope you think about having the same folks work on the next one coming up, because this was a really, really nice job, and I can't wait to see more. This is Justin from GeneralsJoes.com. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please like the video, consider subscribing. We've got more videos from the 2016 G.I. Joe Convention set coming up. So please keep on watching. Thank you very much.
Another one bites the proverbial. Thanks for tuning in and listening to Justin and I drone on about plastic toys for a very long period of time. If you like the video, give us a like or comment on how awesome you think we actually are. Alternatively, check out the great What's on Joe Mind podcast, the even better Full Force podcast, and make sure you follow all the G.I. Joe news on GeneralsJoes.com. Goodbye and see you next time for another Generals Review.